Morning, wherever you are in the world. This is I, Daddy Dragon, otherwise known as Graham Moore. We left the depths of East Sussex, actually on the borders of Kent as well, at 11:20, and I got in here. What time?
About 20 minutes ago.
About 20 minutes ago. Roughly half 7. I got in. We took a slow drive back. Stopped a couple of times on the scenic route. Janet was taking photos of her favourite place on earth, which was, what was it called? Stonehenge. My brain's fried, by the way. All I can see is the road in front of me in a minute. Yeah, and stopped to make a few phone calls as well. So just to make sure everyone's there. I'll wait for a few people to get on board. Tomorrow, I am doing a video. I don't think it's live. It's recorded with Nick Buckley, OBE, MBE, or whatever it is. It should exist. It's British. And I'll have a few conversations. But before I do, I just want to make sure everyone understands. Now, one thing I will say to everyone, and I think I did mention it, but I'm not sure. Last week, I see in Norfolk at the Thetford Freedom and Truth and Freedom Festival, Brett come along, who is the president of the English Constitution Party. As you'll all be aware, he hasn't been at all well. He has got severe kidney damage, some other bits and pieces. I mean, really, he's on dialysis every day. That put a drain on him to get rid of excess fluid. 6 months ago, he absolutely thought he was going to die. That within hours. He's not a well man yet. He turned up there, and I can honestly say, whilst I am happy to see lots of people, this is not me having a pop at anyone else's there. I'm grateful for all the support we get. But seeing Brett there and seeing him smile, he met Janet. We had a meal. All three of us had a meal together and was having a chat. And Janet actually said, out of all the people I've met, he's the one I most click with. He is so funny. I sat there giggling all the way through my little bit where I was doing it. All three of us was like, which we always do, is taking a mickey out of different people and all that, and having a laugh. But she basically said that he is one of the nicest people you could ever meet. And don't forget, one of the reasons that we set up the English Constitution Party was to stand up for people with depression, with disabilities, and more so, and it's on our leaflet, pensioners, right? Don't forget, I am a grey. And on our leaflet, it states that even if you're 98 years old, the one thing that never ages is the power of your vote. Because your vote as a 98-year-old is as powerful as an 18-year-old in their full youth and vigour. The difference between someone of 98 and 18 is experience, of knowledge, of having the advantage of being an elder. So again, I just want to, before I go on, and I was really grateful, really grateful. It took Brett 2 hours to get there. It's extremely tiring for him. He had to go and sit down a couple of times. Janet went and sat with him because he was tired, but he made a massive effort to get there because obviously he can't get out much because of the dialysis. He's almost tied to a machine, which is not a good thing. So I just want to say to everyone how grateful I was to see Brett there, right? So again, if Brett's, I don't know if Brett is listening to this, but just to let him know, it was well appreciated and by everyone, right? So, and bear in mind who and what Brett is. He is the president of the English Constitution Society. So what I'm going to do now is show you this, and I don't think I've got. Have we got any of our leaflets in here? I thought we had a couple of our leaflets in here somewhere. You might know where one of our leaflets is. Huh? Didn't I put some up here?
No, I don't think we had any left.
No? Oh, well. There's one. There's one of our leaflets. We got to get some more leaflets made up, right? But there it is. So what I'm going to try and do is show you the back part. I will show you that because I think it's really important that people understand it. Because what I'm gonna do now. So I want everyone to like, I want everyone to share, and I want everyone to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, right? And now what we're going to do, hopefully, is I'm going to bring this back around here. And touch wood, I will show you the back part of our leaflet. So just so make sure, because I brought this up somewhere else and everyone should understand what it is. Because after this, I'm going to explain to you what they're doing to us or doing to me in your name, why we started this, everything we're doing. So don't forget, share this because it is going to be important. And what I'm going to do is cancel that. I'm going to see if I can put this screen on. Hopefully you can see this. I'm not sure if that light should be on or off. No, it should be off. You got a bit of reflection from that. Oh, that's one of the other ones coming on. Let's see if I can put that on there. I don't want to put that, so I might have to lift it up a touch. Right. Just so you're all aware, so if anyone thinks we're the bad guys out there, we're about England, right? Supporting, this is our leaflet, supporting pensioners. The English Constitution Party are the only party that supports and campaigns for the national living wage pension for pensioners. Ageism is unlawful discrimination against people with no money to fight back. You may be older, but your vote is as powerful now as it was when you were 18. The power of your vote does not age or weaken with age. Your voice will be heard, right? And then it says the ECP will increase the state pension to $19,760 a year. And that was at 2022 prices, £380 a week. The government should raise the state pension to match the yearly equivalent of the national living wage. The national living wage is rising to £9.50 an hour. It's now gone up again to $19,760 a year for a full-time 40 hours per week, which we are told is needed to live on, right? Yet pensioners are expected to live on a state pension of £7,376 a year. The English Constitution Party respects your life's contribution to England and will not allow poverty for pensioners. This is a forgotten, almost forbidden word, which means more to me than any other. That word is England, Winston Churchill. And then it goes on and it says a few things there, right? So the English Constitution Party. At the front there, it tells you everything that we stand for. English Constitution Party. Now, there's a key word there called anti-coercion. I'm going to be talking to you in a couple of minutes about that. Pro-choice vaccinations. So what we're saying is, If you want to have them, you can have them. We're not banning vaccinations, but you need to be told the truth. No false promises, rights of the people, supporting pensioners' rights, and obey the Constitution of England. Is it fairly obvious what we stand for? Right, and again, there it is, Bill of Rights 1688. And as I explained, which we're going to go into further detail, the English constitutional laws, Magna Carta 1215, 1297, observance of due process of law, the Petition of Right of 1627, I've got to get that one redone, Declaration of Rights 1688, the contract, again, constitutional laws, Bill of Rights, Coronation Oath Act 1688, Crown and Parliament Recognition Act, Acts of Settlement 1700, right? Does everyone understand that all of this is on this leaflet? And if you remember when I read it out from the Halsby's Laws of England, United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, union with Scotland 1706, union with England 1707, and it tells you some more detail. And again, if you look from the top, the right of the realm of England and its subjects to defend themselves, the right to a jury, the right to remain silent. And do you remember that Yank said there's nothing written down anywhere? That last one's crucially important. That no foreign prince, person, prelate, state or pontificate hath or ought to have any jurisdiction, power, superiority, preeminence or authority, ecclesiastical or spiritual within this realm. So help me God. And above are the common law constitutional rights removed by the British establishment, right? So you'll get what I'm saying. There's the information. We've got to slightly update this, but not majorly. We seek freedom for England. Primary aims, English self-determination. It's the number one human right. The English Constitution and common law, a light touch English Parliament, independently governed countries, not regions, counties, not regions. So it's all been in there. We've been talking about this for a very long time. Fair, honest elections with representatives that support your English constitutional rights. It's pretty obvious what we stand for, right? There it is. And again, on the back, as you look at the whole thing, it shows you what we are, right? So now what I'm going to do is go back to my main camera, hopefully. And now what I'm going to do is share this. It's been under attack. This is the English Constitution Party's website. Why vote for the English Constitution Party? Policies, manifesto, your rights, get involved, support us. And again, everything is on there, who and what we are. You can make a donation. You can do certain things. I'm going to go back to the Daddy Dragon page in a couple of minutes. Why am I bringing this up tonight? Because I said we'd have a discussion on the way down here if I should be telling you what they're doing in the background, right? So before I start, I will tell you now, bearing in mind I'm quite tired, so I hope to get this over as succinctly as possible, right? We support people with disabilities. We support people that are pensioners. We support people that our constitution and the English, as a group of communities, we used to help each other, right? Anyone who knows me knows that all I keep doing is pushing forward this. I understand that I know the Constitution better than most barristers, certainly better than most judges, and there is a serious issue in this country. But I also suffer from quite severe depression. All right, depression is. It's not related to depression is a very strange thing. I'm going to give you an example, and there's many that I could give. Who's that famous actor, the really funny one that dressed up as a woman and
Oh, Robin Williams.
was it Robin Williams? Don't forget how successful he was, and he took his own life. Don't forget, and this is the one that shocked me, the best goalkeeper in the world was at the height of his career, a German goalkeeper, and he committed suicide. Depression is not linked to your wealth. It's not linked to anything else. There is, my way of putting it is a chemical imbalance, right? That can seriously affect your mind. So, as my depression is, I suffer from depression. There are natural products that I get from America, and they are natural, and it really does help, right? But there's something called suicidal ideation, right, where you consider, not just consider, but plan out your own suicide to such an extent, people that you're talking to every day wouldn't know that you was thinking it. I could give you an example of that, but I won't, because it was quite recent. And you can't see into people's heads, right? You can't see the pressure they're under mentally for whatever reason it is. And it's one of the reasons why when people say to me, oh, fucking what you got to be depressed about, I feel like smacking them in the ear hole because they haven't got a clue. Just because you don't suffer from that and the chemical imbalance, you will never understand what it feels like, right? So to make sure you're all clear, and the reason I'm telling you this is because the government have just, by the way, they have not only my medical history, but also a letter from my doctor explaining to them, do not talk to this man unless you talk to me first, right? I'm not tolerating it, right? So what the Department of Work and Pensions, because I am assisted, right, for various reasons, and it's not just that, I've got other illnesses as well, right? They decided, by the way, they've said this was completely random. Definitely. So I'll explain something else to you in a minute, right? So they asked for all of my, they wanted to know about all my websites. They wanted to know about the English Constitution Party, which I'll get to in a minute. They wanted to know the ins and outs of a cat's arse. And they said, basically, if you don't give us this information, right? So I'll give you an example of this. My private information, I've given to them. The English Constitution Party records, membership, donations, bank records, PayPal accounts, all of this information that they particularly wanted about the English Constitution Party. And I said to them, the English Constitution Party is a limited company. You tell me what you want, and I will get the treasurer to write you a letter explaining that I don't get anything from that party whatsoever. And anything I do receive is with not from the party, but from the Danny Dragon or this. That's all within the bounds of receiving gifts from people that want to give me a gift, right? And to be fair, it's well within the bounds, right? So they've come back to me and said, we want 4 months bank statements, we want the PayPal account, we want this, we want that, we want this, all to do with the English Constitution Party. And what I said to them was, under what authority do you believe that you can ask me for the information on a separate legal identity that technically isn't me? And they come back and said, and I quote, they said, the look-through policy. So instead of them coming back to me and saying it is this law, this law, that regulation, that's what gives us the authority, and you are committing an offence if you don't supply the information or whatever, or we can do this if you don't give us the information. They didn't say that. They said it is the look-through policy. I asked them to clarify the actual law, right? Which everyone, if you're going to comply with the law, you want to know what the law is, right? Instead, what they did was completely shut down my universal credit. So I can't pay my rent. I've got no money, no income coming in whatsoever now. But they say, and I want you to understand this, they say that it was completely random. Now, just as getting 50 votes in Tooting, getting 50 votes in Runcorn and Helsby was statistically impossible, what do you think the odds of randomly picking on someone who is the leader of a political party that believes in self-determination, complete independence, that stands up for people with disabilities and the elderly? How random do you think? Tell me how many other people you think on universal credit in some way could be randomly picked out, and they randomly said, we want that information, right? Now, just to make sure everyone's aware of this, can you all see and hear this? Can you all see and hear this? Right. So basically, this means I can't pay me rent. I've got no money coming in. I am going to go through I will go through a series of things with you where, because I knew I was going to be targeted. Sooner or later, they was going to come for us. More and more people are talking about the Constitution. More and more people are talking about the Constitution, right? They don't like it. I can tell you now that Engels, who is the co-author of the Communist Manifesto with Karl Marx, stated in a letter to his friend that every communist revolution has been shipwrecked on the rock of England. He didn't say Britain, didn't say Scotland, didn't say Wales, and he didn't say Ireland. He said England, right? Because the English and the common law and the Constitution is what they fear most. Now, what's actually happening out there now is people have started to take note of what the Constitution is, right? And the person who's promoting that is not just me, it's you as well, right? So I want everyone to understand the only reason they're doing this is because of my position as the leader of the English Constitution Party, with no income whatsoever coming in. My Starlink's going to be shut down, my car, I'm going to be made homeless, etc. Listen, my name is not Nigel Farage. I did not just get £19 million given to me by some benefactor. I haven't got another mate who's a crook who give him £3 million, George Cottrell, right? We haven't got billionaires backing us. You can't get the word out on the media because the media is communist, right? The BBC is a communist function. So all I'm saying, so by the way, I'm not, I will never surrender to these people, right? So I just want everyone to understand what's going on in the background. We've had a discussion on whether I should tell you about what they're doing and how they're doing it. The problem is you've got a lot of nasty people out there, right? I don't want people. I can tell you now, the seminars boost me every time I do one. When I go and see people, it boosts me every time I go there. And when I see the people that understand, have started to learn, it boosts me completely, right? It's part of what pushes whatever it is that starts to the chemical imbalance in my brain from what I do now and teaching and doing that. It pushes that to one side and I'm focused on what I'm doing, right? But it doesn't all the fact that just so happens that the Department of Work and Pensions, the heads and certainly senior managers and the civil service in charge of it are Fabians. They don't like us. And by the way, I've gone and checked something. There was a guy called Jeremy Hayward who was the cabinet secretary for David Cameron, Theresa May, and Tony Blair, and Gordon Brown, right? He was an executive member of the Fabian Society. His wife was a co-editor of there was communist magazine. I think it's called Economics or something. I can't remember the exact name of it. But he's white. Basically, they're all communists, right? Now, he was the head of the civil service, and he is not allowed, as a communist, to be anywhere near the most powerful position. None of them are. So the fact that people have started talking about the Fabian Society and who they are and what they are, the fact that we are under occupation as a nation, and when I speak of a nation, I talk of England, right? They are obviously going to attack me, right? And what they've tried to do is completely destroy me, right? At some stage in the future, we're going to find out everything and anything about how they did this. So there are things that I can do in the background. Not a lot, by the way, but we're going to try it. So one, we've got to up our game in terms of the seminars need to go out there. You're the people that are pushing this out there, right? I want everyone to understand I don't drive a Rolls Royce, right? For them to do what they have done, we are obviously pulling someone's chain and they don't like it in any way or form, right? My car was donated to me 8 years ago, might have been 9 years ago, and I've still got the same vehicle. All I've done is maintained it, make sure it's got oil in it, put tyres in it, serviced it, etc. And that's what gets me all around. In fact, if you ask Janet, she'll tell you it's the struggle to get everything into the car when you go away and do these seminars, right? Literally, it is loaded right up, right? So the first thing is somehow we're going to have to, and this isn't for me. We can do this in some way. I don't know how. But if anyone knows anyone who's got a bit of land, a farm, anything like that, where I'm not going to be charged rent, but because we've got massively reduced costs, right? Massively. We've got. I want somewhere where I can put a caravan. I'm not. Listen. I don't want to be king of the castle anywhere. I just want our rights back. I want everyone to go and earn a decent living, and I want all the foreigners to go, right? We are under occupation. I'm sick and tired of hearing all this bullshit that I hear out there. We are under occupation by British communists. You need to get rid of the British. We should all be full on about independence for England. We should go back to prior to 1603, where the Scots are aliens in England, right? That doesn't mean we have a go at them, but it means there is a hard border. And for any of them to come into this country, and their goods to come into this country, if they manufacture anything, which they don't, and that the money that the English paid them in 1695, right, or thereabouts, they're going to have to pay it back with interest, right? Because we've bailed them out and bailed them out and bailed them out, and all that happened since then is England has come under attack. Now, if Scotland, it's none of my business what they do. If Scotland wants a monarchy, it's got to be a separate monarch to England. If Scotland wants to be a republic, let them have a president. But it's their business, none of ours. And our business is our business, right? But the key element of England is these foreigners go. These communists will be hanged for what they've done to the people of this country, right? Christian or no Christian, when you betray the nation, which is what these people have done, there has to be a punishment for what they've done. All of them. They can sit back and laugh at us, but they wouldn't be doing what they're doing now to me when they're promoting these other people. And I want to say this briefly. I'll come off there. Does everyone understand now what they've done and how they've done it? These are exceptionally dangerous people, right? And they think I'm going to shut up and stop what I'm doing when I'm not, right? Now, there are people out there, the free man of the landers, right? I've already said what I think they are. I think they're communists, they're part of it, whether they know it or not. They've been led into this, they're promoted, right? There's one particular person talking about spells and language and words, right? Way in means entrance, right? Someone watching now knows all about what I'm talking about, right? I'm going to be perfectly blunt, right? If you want to start talking about words and spells, when the words and spells, if you put them into another language, don't even work. I'm only going to give 1 minute on this, right? If I could say abracadabra to the communists, fuck off, I would. Anyone with a brain knows it's a complete and utter load of bollocks. So do not waste my time, right? You carry on doing what you're doing. I consider you to be fucking treasonous because you are actually, you're part of the distraction. I'm not interested in you. Anyone out there that wants me to talk about to some fucking idiot talking about spells, right? I'm telling everyone now, fuck off. I've got enough of my own problems without taking your head problems on, right? And the fact that they're being promoted on Facebook where I am completely and utterly banned, the fact that I've got no PayPal account, right? None whatsoever. They took it off of me 7 years ago, right? For no reason, just they debanked me from PayPal, right? If I weren't, and you weren't making a fucking difference, why do you think they'd do that? Why do you think they would do all these little things in the back? Why do you think they'd cut everything off for me so I end up living on the fucking street? Why do you think they promote these idiots with the spells and these idiots telling you not to vote, right? Tell me, why do you think it is? Why do you think they get promoted everywhere? It's fairly obvious, right? They only attack the people who are doing them damage. And now it's started to pick up and pick up and pick up and pick up. I've been talking about the Fabians for 20 years. And all of a sudden, people have started to switch onto it. They understand who they are. They understand everything about them. They understand the London School of Economics. They understand communism and Marxism and their approach to this. They understand that taking over every institution is how they do it. One of those institutions is Social Security, right? And a lot of these people who won't stand up are all fucking petrified because they don't want their pensions tugged, whether they be veterans or police officers of old, right? Because they know what's going to happen. Their pensions are going to get tugged, right? Well, I'm telling you now, central bank digital currency is 1,000 times worse. Because not only do they tell you what you can spend your money on and what you can't spend it on, when you go there to do something, they'll just switch you off. You don't exist anymore. Without an address, you can't have a bank account. Without an address, you can't have a car. Without an address, you can't get insurance for your car. Do you understand what's going on? And they only do this to people that are making a difference. So we are making a difference. I am the person that puts my face up for this. I'm the person that sits there and reads law, understands exactly everything that's going on and pushes it out there. So it's me who takes the brunt of it. So one way or the other, I've got to resolve something. Now, just to make sure you're all aware, and this is going to get fucking difficult in terms of stressful, right? And they knew that, right? They absolutely knew it. They're trying to take the dairy off a couple of other cases at the moment because a few cases have already gone through in the past, right? And they don't like it. They don't like the fact that we won the constitutional arguments to get that trial in place. They don't like it. They don't like the fact that they owe me 178 grand, not me personally, but us, right? Because that's the fee, right? And they're shitting all over us. And they're shitting all over me. So all I'm doing is telling you the truth about what's going on. I don't live a luxury life. If you come and looked at this place, right? I won't say what Janet said when she first walked in, but she thinks it looks like a doll's house, and it is. It's so a caravan is bigger, right? I ain't got a problem with any of that, right? I ain't got a problem with any of that. And if I find out there's some things I'm looking into at the moment, if I find out some other things, one or two people could be in a lot of trouble. So getting back to this, right? This look-through policy is not law. Does everyone understand that? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? When they said there is a policy on COVID and you can't do this, this is guidance. Everyone understands guidance and policy is not law, right? So what they've done is expressly use the term look-through policy. So I'm going to challenge that. I'm also going to sue the person who made the decision personally. The civil servant that actually pulled the trigger, I'm going to sue them personally. I also want to know exactly how their random system works. And I have the right to ask that. Because this is discrimination, firstly against the English, directly against the English. And the only group of people making a difference out there for self-determination and independence, right? There is no one else who does what we do, right? The other thing is, and I don't want to give too much away because we are making a massive challenge, and it will end up in the High Court. Well, if they allow it, right? These people are crooks, right? The judges are crooks in wigs. The barristers are crooks in wigs. The solicitors are crooks in suits, right? It's the most disgusting, corrupt profession ever, right? They've even created a monopoly, which is why their profession is crooked, right? Which is forbidden under English law. So I want you to understand, there's a couple of things that they've done. So without me going into too much detail, I've actually looked at the law, and in effect, the English Constitution Party Limited is exempt, completely exempt, right, from what they're suggesting, right? Is completely exempt. One, it isn't trading. It's particularly set up for political reasons, right? It's not a trading limited company, and secondly, it's got nothing to do with property, right? That's it. So, in other words, they're not allowed to do what they've done. But somehow we have to now, right? And this is for me to carry on. We've got to start bringing in, not on the English Constitution Party side, right, but on either the English Constitution Society or the Daddy Dragon channel, right? We've got to bring in funding, and if we don't, it's not me, but it's them who's done it, not me, right? Like I've said, there are various reasons, but I am trying to be as productive as possible and assist with getting England back. And then you've got people like Restore Britain. Let me shut. Do you want me? I don't know. What I'm pretty fed up with. Silk Purse DD. Have you looked into Alison McRoby? The Justice Journals on YouTube, XDWP, helps people with PIP assessments and legal challenges. No, I haven't looked into that. You'd have to probably send me some of that. I can't follow it on here. I don't look at all the comments. But one way or the other, we are. I say we. It's me who's taken it, but we are under attack. And so I want one side of this to be understood. It actually, in a big way, it inspires me because they wouldn't be doing it unless we was having an impact, right? And they're trying to shut down the people talking to us. They're trying to, and that's why I get so annoyed about these fucking idiots that tell you not to vote, because that's communism, right? You can already see the state of the country. Let me have a look. John's dog. DD, I know where you can stick your tin can. What does that mean? And don't forget, there's two of us. So when we're living in the camp, we don't want to get kicked off. Or if there's anyone out there that's got a bit of land, right, and don't mind me putting a caravan on it and living on. Don't forget, it's a mobile structure. So generally, it's a lot easier to site a caravan or even a motorhome. And if there's anyone out there that knows of a really good, cheap motorhome, Silk Purse DD, have you looked into Alison McRoby, the Justice Journals on YouTube, XDWP, helps people with PIP assessments, etc., and legal challenges. No, but I will if I can. Right, so does everyone now understand what I've just said? So first of all, I'll never surrender. The second is they know what they're doing, right? I've got, if this went to court, I absolutely know I'd win. But there's no point in going to a tribunal. You're not going to win at a tribunal. And it don't help me getting up there when no rent's being paid, nothing's being paid, right? But I just want to make sure everyone understands that. Thanks. Any questions from anyone before I get on to the next subject? Because I just wanted to make sure everyone understood what I was saying, right? And don't forget, right, we've been doing this a long time. We only started this party because of what they did in COVID, right? Most of my tickets that I had for the building game, including Slinger Signaler, crane supervisor, mobile crane supervisor, static crane supervisor, site manager, project manager, Prince 2 practitioner, all that stuff. All them tickets run out when they fucking shut most things down during COVID, right? Them tickets cost thousands, and they won't give them back to me, right? It's not as if, I mean, I tried to get me lorry ticket for driving, and they failed me on minors. Yet there were Africans and Pakistanis that couldn't even speak English that they was passing, right? I was standing there watching them. Well, how the fuck did they even pass their theory? I can't even read English, right? So I don't want anyone, you know what I'm saying to you, don't you? Listen, I'm a proper grafter, but these people are taking a piss out of us in a big way. And what we have got to do is keep pushing forward. But if I end up disappearing and not being live and not being happening and not being out there, you know what's going on, right? That's it. That's all I can say to you. Tin Can Caravan. Who's that? John's dog. Well, let me know. There was someone in Wales. I mean, I don't know where it could be sighted. I mean, it can be sighted anywhere in England. But there was someone in Wales. I ain't got a problem with Wales, don't get me wrong, but they get a bit funny about people turning up there, especially English, and living there. Let me have a look. Yeah, same with the Sea invaders, Guardian invaders. They are nasty bits of work. Whereas I will sit here reading 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not stop. And then if I'm focused on a case, it's like I'm in the zone, and then getting to where I've got. That's why they find it so difficult to go against me. DD, it was code, mate. Thank you for the code. So let me get on to the next thing. So again, to the wonderful East End family now living in East Sussex on a small holding that was the absolute. Janet said, "I've never seen you relax like this." Right? When we left this morning, we both was sitting out in the middle of this sort of field, right? Watching the rabbits go past, right? And we looked at each other, and neither of us, she went, "I don't want to leave, do you?" I went, "No, I love it here." Right. But do you know where it's just, and their family are so lovely, all of them, and the little grandchildren. There is a video, I don't think I can play it, but And then even their little golf cart, which is diesel, and you've got a 6-year-old driving it like he's the chauffeur with all the English flags all round it, and then when because they're obviously West Ham supporters, but both the kids come around with a photo and said wherever the photo with DD, and they're like that, the Hammers, right? I just thought everything about the place, but I can tell you now, it's rare that you go to a place. And by the way, I must tell everyone this: if you do end up going there, right, if you do end up going there, she's not like uh, um, she's not a concierge. You're not going to a holiday camp where they do everything for you, right? You're literally renting them places out. You're camping. So think of yourself camping in the middle of the moors. The ranger that's in charge of the whole of the moors don't come up and says, "Oh, you're everything okay? Do you want to put this on?" Right there, it is. Get on with it, right? Although you have a little fire there, you have got showers there. You got lovely toilet facilities there. You've got a kitchen there, which you ain't got when you go camping, obviously, right? So it is fantastic. I wish I knew if anyone out there fancies buying and we'll put it in trust a bit of land. We'll do that, and therefore it's not owned by me, and we'll put a caravan on it. Silk Purse, DD, are you talking terms with Richard Vobes? Ian is wife, fiance have small holding, not sure if they live on it or still live in the house. Sussex way, possibly. Not really. Don't, don't see. No, is the answer. Let me have a morning. Campers, Heidi, hi. I've got to tell you something. It was absolutely superb there. You liked it, didn't you?
Loved it. It's such a lovely family, from the little ones to the oldies.
Yeah. So by the way, it was all different generations of EastEnders. It's the same family, right? You had the grandparents, and then the parents, and then the children, and then the grandchildren, and they all lived there. It's fantastic. It's a proper. And they were all, you finally come to see us, did you? In the depths of the countryside. You would never know they was there, right? And it was fantastic. Got Shepherds. Stephen Norman's got a land DD. Maybe you could have a chat with him. Worth a try. Just might have a chat with him. Well, I'm just letting people know. And don't forget, I've got to go through all this. Why not give Graham a follow and X? Yeah, whatever happens, I'm asking everyone, promote this, send it out, get it out there, subscribe if you're not subscribed, right? But we're all part of a team. And by the way, I've seen someone out there called, Jason, who's American, but also English ancestry, lives in Alaska now, was in Florida. He sends me stuff that is absolutely spot on, right? We're building up and pushing this forward, right? And trust me, we are going to take England back. But we've got to start with these people need to answer. Restore Britain have just took on some guy, policy this, policy that, right? Let me see if I can show you what he said. I think it's on there. I'm not sure. Tracy, Grandma, ask Kelly if she has a live living groundsman job going live. They've got everyone there. I said I'll do anything like that. But you also have to make sure that sometimes people can step in to help you temporarily, but you can't do it long term. That's why you're better off having your own bit of land. Not sure that'll ever happen though. You never know. Oh, what's going on there? Let me see if I can go and find this. Oh, I know where to find that. No, not on there. I'm going to find something for you. I sent it to someone. Here it is. Let me put it on there. Copy link. Shut up. Let's see if I can push this on this side. Put this over here. Right, this is Restore Britain. And now and I do get why they're talking about certain things, but let me have a look at this. Right. I know quite a few people now that are leaving Restore Britain, right? They believe that they're going off in the wrong direction. The main thing they should be sorting out, one is England, and two is the mass illegal and legal immigration problem. Well, the only way you're going to completely solve that is independence. And these people will not listen to that. But also, so I need to tell you this, because I've spoken to a number of people from London, in London, who are not happy with Restore whatsoever, and they've left Restore. Restore are not about working class people, right? They are middle class. Do not understand that most Londoners have now been displaced from their home, right? And a lot of people out there don't understand this, right? You're talking about London only being 36% white, but this is the crucial part. Most of them white people are also foreigners, right? The proper Londoners, of anyone who can has got out, right? But I'm going to show you this because I think you should. I think you should read it or watch it. Sorry. Right.
Hello, I'm Josh Firm, and you might recognise me from all of the media and politics work I've done over the years, but I'm very pleased to announce that I'm joining Restore Britain. I'm going to be part of the policy team, which is very exciting because we've got some really great work on the way, some policies that no other party has come up with, and I'm very much looking forward to being a part of it. Not only will I bring all of my political experience to bear, but also my background in research and data analysis so that we can create some of the best solutions to all the problems that Britain faces.
Some of the best solutions to all the problems that Britain faces. Right? Now, let me tell you, this man's dad is Scottish. Right? He's Scottish. And I'm telling you all, the biggest problem England has ever faced was a union of the crowns in 1603, and I'll get that directly from A.V. Dicey. Originally, I thought that if you went back prior to the Acts of Union, you'd be fine. Not according to A.V. Dicey. The problem started when the two crowns come together and was one executive but two nations. And the only way you could do it is to go back to prior to 1603. And Scots are aliens. That doesn't mean you mistreat them, but they are aliens in England. The Irish are aliens in England. The Welsh would be aliens in England. But we would also be aliens, technically. And when I say aliens, I mean a separate nation. We're separate people, completely different cultures, right? This guy and Restore Britain are more of the same. You're just extending the problem. You're moving round. You're treating the symptoms, right? You're treating the symptoms. What you've got to do is go for the cure and stop what is creating them symptoms, which is the union, right? I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again to everyone. Let me bring that up. I'll show you it again, what he's saying. All right. We are under occupation. And this guy is not going to solve anything. In fact, for the English, it's going to get a lot worse.
Hello, I'm Josh Firm, and you might recognise me from all of the media and politics work I've done over the years, but I'm very pleased to announce that I'm joining Restore Britain. I'm going to be part of the policy team, which is very exciting because we've got some really great work on the way, some policies that no other party has come up with, and I'm very much looking forward to being a part of it. Not only will I bring all of my political experience to bear, but also my background in research and data analysis so that we can create some of the best solutions to all the problems that Britain faces.
Right, let me stop it there. Right. So this research and data analysis, right, let me tell Josh the half's got on your screen now. Can't have a look at the best bit of data you could ever see. Have a look at that data, which states from the 2011 census that 32.4 million, 57% of the population of England said they was English-only national identity. And if you combined it with English-British, it was 67%. Right? That British was 19%, a minority. That British, and the half of that, which equated to 11 million people, half of them are foreigners. The other half are just confused. Right? I just want you to understand. Someone else earlier on said he's like on Twitter. They said, "Yeah, but Graham has a pop at Restore." I'll have a pop at anyone who don't stand up for England, and this prick is not going to stand up for England. In fact, if you want me to show you somebody who will stand up for England, I will. Right? He's already under direct threat. This cunt ain't. Right? The person I'm talking about has already been threatened. He's already had a geezer driving around, tooled up, looking for him in East London, right? Being part of Restore Britain. But this geezer will never get that.
In my opinion, the only party that's serious about that is Restore Britain. Hello, I'm Josh Firm, and you might recognise me.
Right? What does he sound like? He sounds like a middle-class twat, right? The Labour Party was created by Fabians. Who were the Fabians? Middle-class twats. And they created the Labour Party to con the working class. And unfortunately, millions have been conned. The original Labour Party was massively anti-immigration, right? This geezer here is again, you've got the same mob, Lotus Eaters and that little firm, right? They're not listening to the working class. They're not interested, but if it all kicks off, they straight away don't want to stick a gun in your hand, right? To defend them. Fuck off. So that's the major point. Now, what I'm going to do now is show you another one. Hopefully, I can bring it up on your screen. I'm not sure if this is going to still be on there. I hope it is. It may not be because he may have deleted it. But I'm hoping it's still on there. Let's see if I can find it. It says preview unavailable, retry. What does that mean when it means preview unavailable? Let's see if I can find this. Who is the person I'm looking for? Right. Now, working class people in London are walking away because it's a pile of shit from Restore. Right, so I'm hoping to find this. And again, I think this fella is pucker, right? He did actually send me saying he may have deleted it because he was pretty blunt. Hopefully it's on there. Let's see if I can find it. What's that? I don't know. No, I think it might have even been a private video, but not meant for airing anywhere else. I don't know, but it's not on there. Let me see. I don't know. Where's my phone? My phone is better. Oh, there it is. Let me have a look. And there's plenty of these snobs out there. There's plenty of people, by the way. That's nice. Well, that's what we need to find out. Ask Kelly. Is she doing a grassroots job? Let me have a look. I want to see if I can find what he sent me, but I don't think it may not have been public, so I may not be able to show it to you. There it is there. Why does it come up on my phone but nowhere else? Let's see if I can share it. Let me see if I can share it. I might have to ask him before I can do it. I don't want to publish something. It may not come back to me straight away, so I can't show it unless he says I can. But all I'm doing is showing you the difference, and this geezer gets it completely. He's young, but he gets it. Okay, it's private. He said it's a private video. Nope. I just said delete. It was a blinded video. It's a shame. He's literally said, "Don't send it out. I'll get taken out." Right, and I mean the reality of what's going on, not these fucking nonsense middle class twats. We are under occupation by British communists. The only way to take them out is full English independence, returning back to the rule prior to 1603. Right. So if Scotland wants a republic, they can have a republic. If they want a monarchy, they have a separate monarchy to ours. The two things are completely independent. That's the only way to do it. Look to God. What do you think of Steve Laws? Steve Laws is fine. He don't really talk to me. Steve Laws doesn't understand the Constitution like many of these people. He's not on his own. Even the judges have been misinstructed on it. So the barristers, so as the solicitors. He was never taught about the Constitution. So when we say the Constitution is the solution, and absolutely know that is fact, he doesn't understand if you what people have to understand, quite simply, is if you was to go back to the Constitution, the real Constitution, even if you was to null and void the British Nationality Act of 1948, right? And there's other things you should, but it's the old way of doing it. But you could probably go back over 100 different laws and variations that need to be made null and void. But you're never really going to achieve anything unless you go back to pre-1603. That's my opinion now. After reading Dicey, it would mean the Irish, the Welsh, and the Scots are known as aliens, right? Technically, Wales would still, because Wales become part of England in 1536, but I would give them the ultimate choice on that. They're still common law jurisdiction, but they're so badly infiltrated by communists. I think they're going to be bang in trouble. Is my answer. So I've told you what's going on. It's fairly obvious to me. The statistical odds on randomly picking the leader of a political party that only stands up for England, the English Constitution, disabled people with disabilities, and pensioners. In other words, the only real voice for you is me and is the English Constitution Party. For them to randomly pick me out of all them people, and I want you to understand something else. I've cut my money off. They're putting these foreigners, right, in 5-star hotels, 4-star hotels, giving them a bit of dough every week, right, getting private healthcare, private dentistry, private this, private that, right? Officially, I'm still waiting for my scan from the National Health Service to look at my spine. Remember when I was in a fucking agony, right? Bearing in mind, Janet was here and I was laying on the floor for 3 hours screaming in pain with 3 protruding discs. And I've already had 1 disc removed when I was 29, right? It was only the assistance you give me that allowed me to go and pay for a scan in 2 days. They then could see what was wrong, and then the osteopath could do what he needed to do, and various other little bits and pieces. So just remember, I'm not some multi-millionaire. My name is not Nigel Farage. I haven't been given 19 million by a billionaire. I haven't been given 3 million by a crook called what was his name? George Cottrell, who now resides in Montenegro, that is now funding because of his ill-going gains. Who was convicted in America, by the way. Who is now funding a political party to take Montenegro into the European Union, and that's supposed to be, as Nigel Farage says, is like a son to me. Really. Right? I'm just a normal, everyday working person, right? There's nothing special about me. But they obviously don't like me very much. Or what we stand for. But communists hate England. And they hate the Constitution. That's why they are systematically destroying it, and they have succeeded to a large extent. All we've got to do is take it back. And we're building momentum. Restore are not going to be doing that. They're not interested in that. They're only interested in the Union. They're more interested in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. They don't care if England gets destroyed, as long as those 3 nations are still part of England, right? I'm just letting you know the truth. So it's now 15:15. I am going to say good night, God bless. I am also going to say don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. You're the people out there pushing this out, right? We need to get as much as that out there as possible. And we, you are under attack. And the reason I'm under attack is because I would not supply them with your details, with the details of the people who help fund the English Constitution Party, that pay for our leaflets. That I wouldn't show them our statements, I wouldn't show them our PayPal accounts, right? Because I said, the look-through policy, what does it say in law? A policy and law are two different things. And I can't cut off all of my benefits. That's it. Thank you. Good night. God bless. And I will see you tomorrow evening at the same time, 8 p.m.